Mayor Palmieri is standing by on the line right now. Do you know anything about that, Mayor? Is there? I think there's some sort of a demonstration today.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yeah. See?
My understanding.
You want to know? You call the mayor.
Well, sometimes I have a great staff.
Well, that's good. That's good. All right.
So speaking about a great staff, as you know, Saturday night we had the mayor's gala.
I heard it was a whopping success.
So you're saying you weren't there?
I had a choice between my daughter and you. That was.
So what you're saying is your daughter, me, and you wouldn't be better?
Well, unless you wanted to go to a dance competition in Albany.
You know what? We had the same thing going on here at the Stanley.
Right. I've been to. I think we've done 2 of these competitions at the Stanley. So there was another one yesterday, right?
Yes, there were actually
the
Saturday night, and we met a lot of people from all over, and they were very much impressed with the city of Utica.
I got to tell you, those dance competitions, while I think it's a bit of a, come pay and play and, it's the same thing with these baseball tournaments they do and everything. It's all about somebody's making money. But I got to tell you, they bring in hundreds and hundreds of girls and boys.
Yes.
And they take up the Stanley. I've been to 2 so far this season. And I think there have been others, including this weekend. And people come, they eat in the restaurants, they stay in the hotels. It's certainly good for the community.
It's absolutely. I have 3 Actually, I have 12 grandchildren, but I have 3 granddaughters that are in that, and it is amazing to watch it. And you watch them how they develop.
Yeah.
It's exciting and it's great, and it's a wonderful thing that Andrew was there to represent for you, all of you.
Yes, we made sure he was
at the gala, not the dance tournament. Okay. Just to be clear.
All right, Mayor. Let's talk about. You came out pretty strong against the county executive's plan for a casino downtown in that location. We spoke with the county executive last week and said that when the 2 of you talked, you seemed very positive, and then he said he was surprised by your comments in the paper. How do you respond?
I'm not going to get into what he said and I said. I have a great relationship with him, and unfortunately there are some circumstances that you're not going to agree with everybody. What I did tell him, and we sat down on one-on-one, I said, I'll look at it. If there was going to be an opportunity, I would favor the harbor. And as I pursued it, because I don't know an awful lot about the gaming industry at all, I researched it. I talked to a number of people, and I also did visit several of the sites. And at my conclusion at this point is that gaming, I don't believe, is an economic driver. I don't think it's going to be what it's going to stimulate specifically the Bag Square, and to the point where I don't even think it's favorable at the harbor. Now, however, I would love to have a conversation with the county executive along with Ray Hellbreder to maybe look at a riverboat where it could be a destination for a variety of people, because there is nothing like that, and be able to capture the beauty of the Erie Canal along with a gaming boat that you have the opportunity to go up and down to either East Albany and West Rome, Syracuse, and so forth. So I think, what I'm looking for is getting people off the thruway, off of Route 12 that are going up to the Adirondacks for a destination. I don't believe a gaming is a destination.
How would I want to go back to the riverboat. Would that be legal in New York, though?
Again, that's where you have the dialogue with, first and foremost, with the state, with the county executive, and more importantly is Ray Hellbreder. I think, if I'm looking for a destination, I'd like to see a museum that really shows the history, the culture, and the value of the Oneidas, and I think the harbor would be a great spot for that. So I think there's a lot of things we can look at, but if you're asking me about gaming, I am not supportive of it.
Would you be, it almost seems, I can't help but say this, it almost seems that you would have been supportive if he was putting it at the harbor.
No, and I said I would at least entertain that. And again, I would have to do my due diligence, and as I told the county executive, I'll take a look at it. I don't know enough about it, but I researched it. And as I talked to a number of people, I have not had one individual come up to me and said they think that gaming was a good application down there. So I went from, I would consider it at the harbor because I think if I could put a multiple use in there with a mixed use of a neighborhood, the sporting, a water park, retail, then you could kind of sprinkle it in there to a point where it's not the only destination, the only site, so maybe overall. But the more I really dove into this, I don't even think it's a benefit to the harbor, but a riverboat, who else has one? Nobody. Right. Who has a harbor? Nobody of the magnitude. So as we develop, aren't we dreaming for big dreams?
Yeah, I think that the riverboat is not legal in New York. So that would be a challenge in itself. To be able to see that.
Challenges are okay.
Yeah.
If it gets to the means of what we're looking for, more exposure to the Erie Canal, a destination, and a partnership with the Oneidas. So,
tell me if you could. What you say you did your due diligence, you did your research, and you said you visited locations. Where did you visit?
We went to Schenectady, which is a state-run facility. And, I walked around there. I talked to a number of the, people, the security in through there, just to get a fresh understanding, which that opened up only in February. And then I went out to Chittenango and to look at the Yellowbrook. And again, I think we would be attracting the people that least could afford it. And that's not what I'm trying to achieve here.
Okay. All right. And but in terms of numbers, it's a little early to get numbers back from them to see what kind of impact they're having economically.
I think the impact, you have to look at it twofold, is, I think, what is the positive impact and what is the negative impact? I mean, that's what you're looking at. What are you, if it's not a destination, and again, a resort area such as the Turning Stone, there's multiple facets of that. There's the golf. There's the entertainment. They have all the other amenities that are going into it. You go there, maybe you walk in and maybe you do some gaming. Maybe there's shows that are going on at that point. If you're just talking about gaming, that's all you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put gaming where we're going to have a family venue at the auditorium. We're going to have the historic value of our Bag Square, which is coming back. So I just don't think it fits.
All right, we want to address the issue of term limits.
If I could just throw my opinion out,
sure.
I actually agree with the mayor 100% on what he just said. I did want to ask you about term limits, though. There's this movement in the city. Petitions are going around. Some have said it's coming from your office or from some of your personnel. We talked to Lou Parada last week. What are your thoughts on extending the term limit, and would you run again if you could?
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm somewhat flattered and humbled, and this is not something that just happened. This has been going over for roughly about a year. A number of residents have come up to me, and they said they like the position of the city and the movement and how it's progressing. And how do we keep you? And I said, well, there are term limits. And this would be, I'm in my final term limit. How do we change it? I said, well, it's got to go through charter. What do we have to do? So there's been, there's been that rippling for a long period of time. People have got together, and they're out there, and it's still term limits. I don't want anybody to think that it's eliminating term limits. And if we're going to have term limits, it should be all. It should be the members of the Common Council, the president of the Common Council, the comptrollers, and the mayor. If the people decide that's what they would encourage, you know what? 2 years away to answer your question, things change in a heartbeat. As you know, I'm very passionate about the city. I love it. I think we have a great partnership with all. People are very optimistic what's going on at this point. Are we out of the woods with our financials? Absolutely not. We battle each day. I think you've seen stuff happening in the city, not only in downtown, throughout. Investors are talking to me. They love what they see. They love working with the city. I've got a great relationship with Bill Morehouse downstairs. We've been upgraded by all the rating agencies. And then we just saw last week with the comptroller, Tom DiNapoli, that our stress has been at the level that we rank very high in less of stress, where we were in 2012 at roughly 70. At 70, we're below that at this point. So there's a lot of good things that are happening, and they're happening because there's a good team out there, and there's a good feeling. So if I'm fortunate enough, would I consider it? Absolutely, I would consider it. Does that mean I'm throwing my hat in? It's 2 years away, and a lot could happen at this point. I could walk out and get hit by a car. I don't know. But
The moon could fall from the sky.
I don't think that's going to happen, but
yeah.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen.
Samantha Colosimo could announce she's going to run. I mean, anything could happen.
I hope that doesn't happen.
All right, so I just want to give you a chance to just address the bike thing, this bike share program, what seems like a positive on the front page above the fold.
What do you mean? Seems to be. Come on.
Okay.
Don't hook out there, Bill. It is a positive. This is what happens in our larger cities that people
but I
want,
could fall off the bike tomorrow. Anything could happen.
God.
Right?
But if I get hit by a bike, then you know what? Then it was my own doing. I wanted the Zagster to come in here. You get hit. You share with Rome. It gives you the opportunity at this point as you're getting more people coming into here. You've got the empty nesters. You've got the millennials that are out there. Is the fact that you have the opportunity to go to these different stations, use your phones, and be able to travel maybe the canal. Maybe you want to go along the parkway and take a look at the beautiful parks and have that venue or whatever it may be. These are the quality of life initiatives that you have to be able to compete with the large cities. We have a zoo, we have a ski, we have Munson Williams, we have the Stanley, we have all the venues, great eateries. So these are all the little finer things that you tune to really make sure that this music in the city is really being echoed throughout.
Got it. I do have some comments people are making. Tim, river gaming is illegal in New York State. So I guess the mayor doesn't understand. Can you comment on it's illegal? It's not legal. You feel though that you could get down the road to legalization of that.
Listen, let's explore it. There's just to say no. I mean, if the governor or the federal government or we look into, if they say no, at least we have explored an opportunity without not trying to put the time and energy into it.
Jonathan says the casino downtown would include this craft beer innovation museum. Other things, but would bring some 500 jobs. Even with the 500 jobs, you would still be against a casino.
Oh, are we talking the 500 jobs with the craft brewery? That is separate. That's a standalone. And again, I think that dialogue, honestly, that we have the Mats to have that conversation because they've done a great job. So I'd like to coordinate that with that.
Okay.
Take a look at an opportunity for that. Yes, a craft museum would be outstanding, whether it be at the harbor for a destination or potentially downtown. I'd like to have the consideration with the Mats to see what their feelings are on that also.
Okay, and let's see. This is Tony says Atlantic City. Look at what has happened to Atlantic City with casinos. I think he's supporting your opinion here. Saying that Atlantic City is a rough area around the casinos. I'm not sure you can compare Utica to Atlantic City, but that's what Tony has to say on that.
I think, and when you're looking at that, is the fact that if you look at either the Turning Stone and even they're rural areas, when you talk about urban, you're going to attract, as I keep on, saying, is that you're going to attract the people that can least afford it.
Okay.
What is the reason for it? Are you going to have people coming off the thruway when they could go to the Turning Stone, or maybe they just came past Schenectady? I just don't think it's a proper fit at this time.
All right, Mayor, to be continued. We appreciate your time.
Anytime. My pleasure. Thank you.
Mayor Rob Palmieri. Quick break. We'll come back.